Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the NTI PodTalk. My name is Dianne Kaler. I'm the director of Nutrition Therapy Institute. This PodTalk is our opportunity to talk to people in the NTI community, around the NTI community, about foods, nutrition, health, and everything involved in those subjects. Today, I'm so happy to be talking to Mason Spendow. He is a recent graduate from our natural food chef program. And so we have a lot to talk about today. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, Mason, for being here. Thrilled to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So let's just start off with, first of all, I want to just mention those who are part of the NTI community, and certainly those who are part of the NFC community, the Natural Food Chef Program community here at NTI, will know that having a man in our program is not something that never happens, but it happens more rarely. And so you were the only male in your cohort this last time. So first of all, I want to thank you for doing that. I know sometimes it can be a little intimidating, perhaps, to be thrown into a group of all females. And so being the lone male, we always want to commend our male students for taking that step in doing that. But anyways, so how did you become interested in cooking? Like, where did this passion come from to want to be a cook and then learn how to cook?
Yeah, wow. That's yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started, I think it started at birth, like with anything that is like a true passion for anyone. So, I remember like being super interested, like as a kid. My grandfather was Italian, and he was like known in the family for his spaghetti sauce and his pastas. And I grew up just like so intrigued by what he was doing in the kitchen, and I always wanted to be around that. And yeah, it was just, and then like my mom and my grandmother preparing, Thanksgiving dinners, and I was always amazed at the process of all of that. But it never really became like a true passion for me until the last few years, really. In August of 2013, my then girlfriend, now wife, suffered a spinal cord injury. She was paralyzed from the chest down. Since she's done some pretty amazing recovery in the last 8 years, almost 9 years now. And but at the time, it was pretty debilitating, and I became her part-time caretaker, which was extremely challenging. That was a really big role to fill in my life. And I was there for her, and I could be there for her to support her on her journey. But I always wanted to do more, and I always felt like there was more that I could give. And that was a struggle for a while until I found nutrition, until I found that I could get into the kitchen and support her more in that way. And it started as like a joyful thing, just kind of bringing some joy into a dark situation in our lives. And then I quickly began to learn that there was a lot more that I could do. I began to learn about nutrition and things like that. And I could, really aid her in her really difficult work, her healing journey that was in front of her. And I found some really amazing freedoms in that. And I found, what I wanted to do, or what I could do for her and with her on her journey. So,
Yes. So
yeah, that's kind of what got me back into the kitchen.
Yeah. So you were cooking for her, for yourself, and that is probably what drove your passion I would imagine that the more creative you became with your cooking and the more you did cook, that you probably saw a real big difference, because
I did.
I think that's so powerful to recognize that when you intentionally cook for yourself and choose your own ingredients and have
Mhm.
control over the quality of the foods that you're preparing because you are choosing your own ingredients, you can truly see the impacts of that in the people who are eating the foods that you're preparing. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, it was very powerful. It still is. Yeah.
yeah. Well, so you developed this passion for cooking and you decided you wanted to go to chef school. How did you choose NTI? How did you find out about us? What made you choose NTI? And then also, because you are not local, so for those who may not know, we are located in Colorado. We're in Arvada, Colorado, just outside of Denver. You are not from Colorado, so this was a big decision. Like,
Yes, it
not
was.
only did you have to find a school that aligned with your values, your desires, your goals, but it was a school that was out of state. So how did
Right.
that process come about, and how did you learn about NTI?
Yeah. So like kind of as I was saying, I was always like interested in food, and I always kind of had it like in the back burners of my mind of, traditional culinary school. Like I'm here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And actually our community college has like one of the top culinary programs in the nation. So that was always something that I kind of, kicked around the possibility of doing, because I knew it was something that I liked to do, and I thought it would be fun to make a career out of it. Um, but as I grew and the more I got into the kitchen myself, the more I realized that like I have a lot of skills already, and I don't necessarily want to go to like the very strict regimented, um, you know, traditional, if you will, culinary school. Um, and then my wife started working with somebody who actually went through the nutritionist program at NTI. So I heard about it through her. And just the way she talked about the school and the energy at the school and the way that you guys teach, and um, just the philosophy of nutrition really just felt so in line with the way that I view it and the way that I've come to view it. So it just felt like a perfect fit. And as you said, Colorado, that was a bit of a selling point as well. I always wanted to come out and experience the mountains for more than just a weekend bachelor party, which is my only experience before that. I wanted to be out there, and yeah, it drew me in. It all just felt perfect.
Good. Well, so you moved here. What did you do for housing while you were here?
Yeah, so I did a long-term Airbnb actually,
Mhm.
um, which was pretty awesome. It was quite a bit cheaper than any like apartment that we could find at the time. Um, and with the long-term Airbnb, it's all fully furnished. Like the kitchen is fully stocked and equipped, and
Mhm.
didn't have to worry really about bringing much out with us. We just packed up um, our little SUV full of things that we could bring out, and didn't need anything else. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful place. We were up in Coal Creek Canyon, so we were up in the mountains at 8,600 feet. Um, got a beautiful view of the sunrise every morning, and yeah, it was really incredible. We found a really great spot. So
Nice, nice. So in your process of looking for accommodations, um, like, I'm thinking of tips for other people who might be moving here for our program. And let me just say that this is not unusual, that we do have people moving from out of state to come here just to take our chef program.
mhm.
It happens regularly. So tips for those who, are like, oh, I'd like to go, but the whole moving aspect. So like you found yours on a Airbnb. Is that did you know for sure that's where you were going to look, or did you look around at apartments? Like, what was that whole process of starting and engaging in that search?
Yeah, we did look at, some apartments, more so like closer to Arvada in the city. And they were, not really what we wanted. We have our dog too.
Yeah.
And so we wanted, a friendly place that we could bring her. And in the city, it just didn't quite feel perfectly in line with us. And it was a little bit more expensive. So we were kind of looking more on the outskirts, and there wasn't much as far as apartments in our price range. So we went with Airbnb and found the perfect place. And so yeah, look, to me, it was so perfect because the NFC program is no joke, right? Like it's intense. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And to me, like being out away a little bit, we were about 35 minutes out of the city, being away and like being up in the mountains and being in like this beautiful place where I could go and recharge and rest up there was really a really amazing thing. So I would highly recommend anybody looking into the program to find a place that feels really good and relaxing to you while you're out there. So.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That you needed that time, and maybe the commute, the 35-minute commute each way helps clear your head.
Absolutely.
And then being out in the mountains. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's talk about kind of what you're doing now. So so let's just be clear, you graduated like a month ago, maybe 5
5 weeks, I think.
5 weeks, yeah. So talk about, are you working? Have you found work in your desired field? And then I know that you did have something that you did right immediately after graduation.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was able to jump right in with both feet right after the weekend after graduation. I did a men's retreat so I catered a men's retreat. I was on site catering up in Estes Park. It was beautiful. It was up in the mountains in Estes Park in a beautiful cabin, and just again, another just perfect fit for me. It was exactly what I wanted to do with my new skills that I got in the NFC program. And yeah, it was really beautiful. I heard about it through Chef Jackie put me in contact with the facilitator of the retreat. And along with a lot of other opportunities that she sent my way throughout the retreat or throughout the program. So there are a lot of opportunities right now. It's a thriving market, and I'm very excited to be getting into it.
Yeah. Is that kind of your goal, to work those like group retreat type situations more than personal chefing? Or
yeah. So I did that retreat, and then right after that, the week after, led into a private chefing gig that I got for the facilitator of the retreat, and that was a great experience as well. Quite a bit different than cooking on a weekend retreat, that's for sure. And I don't know if it's 100% where I want to go with it, but it's fun, and it's nice to be able to kind of take on all of the experiences and know exactly what I want to do with it. So yes, right now my dream is the retreats, especially men's retreats. I think it's a really beautiful thing to be there and provide this nourishment to people as they're digging deep and doing this deep spiritual work on themselves. To be there and to be that resource for them while they're doing that is really something that I'm very excited to be getting into. So. Yeah, absolutely.
I totally agree that during these times where people are doing this really intense personal inner work, being well nourished actually helps that process,
Absolutely.
because your brain works better, you're calmer, your nervous system is calmer when you eat well and when you're well nourished. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, they're not separate, right? They're doing the deep personal inner work, requires this nourishment, right? It's mind, body, and spirit. Like, we need all of it together. And to hold that body part down for the people as they're going into the mind and spirit and all that is really powerful to me.
Mhm.
It's something I'm very passionate about. So.
Nice. Great. Well, so what's your favorite food to cook? Do you have like a repertoire that is something that you really get into? Do you have a particular type of food that you like to cook?
Yes and no. I don't like to confine myself necessarily. I like to dabble in pretty much any style of cooking. It's just fun to experiment and play around with different foods. As long as it's delicious and nourishing,
Yeah.
like that's my goal in the cooking, is to make it not just a meal, to make it an experience, and a delicious, fun gathering experience that also nourishes people to help them become their most embodied selves. But with all that said, I mean, yes, I will say, like, I have my roots, like I said earlier, in like the Italian kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I feel definitely the most like at home in the kitchen when I'm just kind of whipping up a pasta sauce or pastas or something like that. So yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
always kind of come back to that. No matter what I do, I always come back to Italian. So
I was going to ask if there's usually an Italian slant to perhaps most things that you make.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And lately it's been a little more of like kind of the Spanish Mexican too. My father-in-law is Mexican and he's a really good cook, so he kind of inspires me and he gives me his recipes. And I love spice, so I love cooking with spice. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. So we've talked about like your passion, certainly in terms of cooking for like retreat situations, men's retreats in particular. Um, are there other things that kind of feed your passion about particularly wanting to be a natural food chef? Like, because there are chefs out there, but they're not all natural food chefs. So can you talk a little bit about what is your like what is that alignment that you have with this natural food? And there may be different definitions for what a natural food chef is, but like
Totally.
what's your alignment with this concept rather than just being a just a chef?
Absolutely. Yeah, to me, like coming back to the natural and kind of coming back to what the earth provides us is really what I am striving for, just in my life in general, but especially now, in my cooking and learning the kind of like holistic nutrition behind cooking and nourishment through food. I think the natural to me is that return, I guess, to the more, I guess, ancient ways that the earth has always provided us. And to me, I want to be, as a chef, I want to be a steward for that knowledge and wisdom and that love and joy that's coming through what the earth provides us in abundance, and I want to be able to get out of the way and bring that through into the food. And that's what natural to me means.
I love that. I really like the way you verbalize that vision. That's really powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, so where can people find you? Are you on the interweb?
I am. Yeah, totally. The interwebs. Yeah, I'm on socials, Facebook and Instagram. I'm not very active on Facebook, but I am quite active on Instagram. So I'm On Purpose Kitchen on Instagram. I'm still working on setting up my website. So I guess, yeah, just follow me on Instagram and look for the announcement for the coming announcement for my website launch on there. So
Great, good. On Purpose Kitchen.
On Purpose Kitchen. Yeah.
Right.
Cook on purpose, eat on purpose, live on purpose. To me, it's all about coming back to our purpose here on earth. And to me, bringing that sacred nourishment and nutrition to people is a powerful part of them becoming the person that they're meant to be here. So
Love it. Nice. Yeah. Really nice message. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Mason. It was really nice to reconnect with you and get caught up on what you've been doing since graduation. Happy that things are going well for you. And I'm very happy that you had a great experience in the NFC program and it was able to fulfill all the things that you wanted it to be. So I'm glad to hear that.
It fulfilled it and more. Yeah, it exceeded all my expectations. It was the perfect place for me. So thank you.
Good. Yeah. All right. Well, have a great day, Mason.
Yeah, thank you. You too.